Magdalene's blog 34. We took leftovers from the kitchens down there as planned, and other materials as well. Things got better and better. To my surprise, some priestesses got involved of their own accord, especially a few of our retired sisters who saw the southern slopes as their special domain. They supervised the building of a buffer zone we called the middle area, and took responsibility for taking some of the offerings there, deciding which should go to the shrine and which to the goats. Once curiosity and sympathy had been aroused, the scheme pretty much ran itself, and by winter time the new arrangements were in place and working. The rebuilt shrine had three parts, outer, middle and inner. The inner was Hecate's shrine proper, still over the crevice in the rocks, but increased in size. It had two outlooks, one towards our temple, and the other over the rough land outside our walls that was part of the outer area. The middle wall joined the shrine proper from our side to the outer area, and it was here that Hecate's offerings were placed, in small openings in the now overall higher wall that could be reached from the other side. The outer area had a partial boundary wall, but with some places built in where people could take shade and shelter. And of course the openings through which the offerings were received from the inside, much of it done by the uncleans themselves. Even Belle was surprised and reasonably satisfied with the results. It had taken food and kindness, but also a lot of goodwill and effort. I was really impressed because after the initial impetus from me, most had been taken on by others. Cara was the true star, but she wouldn't take any of the credit. She put it down to the older sisters wanting to take care of where they were going. I looked at her, trying to see if she was joking, and I think she was. We laughed anyway. For myself, I was spurred on by the activity on our southern slopes to see if there were other places in Antioch that the same could be done. This wasn't quite so easy, as I had to find new partners wanting to help, but I did have some success. The largest area where the uncleans gathered was outside of the city walls to the west, down the river. They were left to scavenge on the town's rubbish dumps that were sited out that way, or else starve or die of any number of causes. The biggest source of unused foods was the markets, particularly on Fridays, because much of market food that went past Friday was likely to be thrown away. And I found my supporter in Sarita's Kasva. His normal worries in this area were dealing with the criminal gangs that would break into his warehouses given the chance. He had been forced to get one of the gangs to protect his businesses from the others and give them a share of the profits in the process. When Sarita told him what we wanted, he agreed that we could use one of his ox carts, together with a driver, to transport what we wanted down to the uncleans. The city guards even said they would provide an escort to keep an eye on the encampment. All we had to do was get the leftover goods from the traders and get them onto the cart and off at the other end. Cara and myself managed it on the first week, with help from the ox driver, and afterwards we travelled back to Sarita's house to celebrate. We even thought we'd been able to get a bit more from the traders than they would normally have got rid of. The next week, we were loading up again when one of our customers from Aphrodite's shrines got involved. He didn't like the idea of us priestesses going to that encampment alone, and so he came along as well. Then he arranged that he and a couple of his friends would take it in turns in doing the loading and unloading instead. They might need payment of a pleasanter kind, but I knew someone who could help. Ayala particularly liked one of the three. What we hadn't known was how the distribution of the goods we brought would be dealt with by the uncleans themselves. As it turned out, it wasn't too hard, for several women amongst them seemed to be controlling the supplies, and soon we were able to make our weekly arrangements with them. Belle, however, thought I was spending too much time with this hopeless work, though I assured her it was not taking me away from my other duties. "It is about control," she said. "That is what makes the difference, not all this giving away of rubbish." "Food," I said. "It's not rubbish, and it only takes a little kindness from many people to make a huge difference. It is not my efforts at all." "Magdalene, I'm serious," replied Belle. It is in greater control that the answer lies. Isis brought prosperity to Egypt because of her law-giving. Isis was even able to bring Osiris back to life because she had such control of power. She is your true model, or should be. Look at your Moses. He had control of such great power that the Red Sea parted for him. Never mind the Egyptian priests bowing down to him. Isn't that what your Jewish priests say? She paused, letting her words sink fully in. That is what makes the difference, and that is where you should be putting your efforts.